Okay. This one. Okay.
Unknown caller.
Shall I start?
Just 1 second. Yeah. Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, I'd like to invite the speaker, Dr. Veena Gowda, who will talk about advances in cashew production technologies. I now request the speaker to begin. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Very good evening to all. I am Dr. Veena G, working as Senior Scientist at Directorate of Cashew Research, Puttur. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for providing me this wonderful opportunity to present my views on the advances in cashew production technologies, the crop which we are working on it. First, let's have a brief introduction about the crop. So, as we all know, that cashew is doesn't belong to India. It is an introduced crop introduced to India by the Portuguese, but it has been adapted as a crop of India. It has spread all over the coastal belts and even in the plains also. The botanically cashew is known as Anacardium occidental, belongs to the family Anacardiaceae. This crop was introduced mainly to mitigate the soil erosion. But when you see this crop is unique because here we can see this inverted fruit attached with the nut, which we can't see in other fruit crops. So when we compare with the nut and the fruit, as we all know that we have some like knowledge that nut is, especially the cashew kernel, is rich in protein and the beneficial fat. But come to fruit, it acts as an energy booster. It revitalizes the body by providing high calorific value. And this fruit is rich in vitamin C and some of the minerals also. When we see these growth phases of this nut as well as cashew apple, the development and maturity of the cashew nut will take place. Plus, after that, it will start with the cashew apple. When we compare with the size of these two, the 8 to 10 times larger than that of the cashew nut, cashew apple base. So it is a false fruit. It is also known as pseudo fruit. So when we see this, the cultivation standards and the export production standard, India made a cashew a commodity of international trade and acclaim. It is being cultivated in East Coast, West Coast regions, and also to some extent in the plains of northeastern hilly regions also. And if we compare the export earnings by export of cashew kernels, rupees 3,097 crores, and CNSL, the cashew nutshell liquid, which will the byproduct obtained after processing, that is around rupees 6.92 crores. It is the data of 2021 and 22. And if we see the data of import of RCN, means raw cashew nut, is around rupees 9,338 crores of the data of 2021. It is mainly because of the domestic demand is more rather than the production. So if we see the global cashew production scenario, the majority of the percent of contribution is from West Africa. Coming to India, it contributes around 14.80%. In India, the major contributing states are Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Kerala. The first state is that Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh. There is a phenomenal growth in cashew production, which has been registered at the global level with a cumulative annual growth rate of 2.29%. And in India, the production is growing at the rate of 3.18%. The global production of raw cashew nut is estimated to be 46.6 lakh metric tons during the year 22-23. And the Ivory Coast is remained as the world's largest producing country with a production of 12 lakh metric tons with respect to productivity. So if we see the trends in world cashew production, that is on kernel basis, starting from the year 2009-10 to 2019-20, there is an increasing phase we can notice. Around 7,86,266 metric tons on kernel basis, which is around 3.6 million metric tons of raw cashew nut. That is in 2019 to 20. It is a strategic improvement or a increasing trend we can see. And the production is a steady increase. The West Africa and East Africa are the most contributing countries to the major, we can say more than half of the global cashew output. So if we see the import trend also, a total of 20.52 lakh metric tons of raw cashew nut processed in India during the year 22-23. To fulfill the demand of raw cashew nut, about 64.9% of the total processed quantity is imported primarily from West African countries. So if we see the production scenario of raw cashew nut in India, state-wise, area-wise, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Goa are coming in the topmost priority. Next comes the production, same Andhra Pradesh, Goa and Karnataka. This chart is showing with respect to area as well as production state-wise. So growth rate in export of cashew kernels as well as CNSL, if we see the overall, there is the quantity and the value is the quantity of cashew kernel is around 4.46 crores and the CNSL is 5.12 crores. And what are all the general issues or the impediments in cashew cultivation which hampers the cashew cultivation? We can see one is the neglected and low fertile soil of hill slopes, that is eroded soil, we can say, due to heavy rainfall in the hilly regions. The topmost fertile soil is eroded. In that area, cashew is growing, and the majority of the cashew plantations which are available in India are old and senile plantations, and we can't expect the higher production out of it. And if we see, majority of the plantations are of seedling originated. If we see seedling originated plantation, the yield, with respect to yield, it is comparatively lesser than that of the vegetatively propagated plantations. So there is no proper nutrient management. As of now, there are no standardized package of practices. Even though it is available, most of the farmers are not following those standardized package of practices because it is treated as a neglected crop, and whatever the yield they are getting with the minimum cultural operations, they are going for selling. So coming to the next one is the severe pest infestation in endemic areas. The two most important pests we can see in cashew is the tea mosquito bug. Another one is the cashew stem and root borer. And next is the improper soil and water management practices and canopy management practices, which contributes to low productivity, we can see. Then is the lack of awareness of value addition with respect to cashew apple. What's happening in cashew sector is that after harvesting of nuts, after collection of nuts, the complete fruit, whatever attached to the nut, is treated it as a waste, and the farmers used to throw it in the field, and it will decompose there in the plantation itself. There is no well-established awareness among the growers as well as the consumers as well as the processors that it is rich in vitamin C and some of the important mineral components. By inhibiting the tannin content of cashew apple, we can make n number of value-added products which can give additional income to the farmers as well as the processors, as well as nutrient value-added product to the consumers also. This knowledge is lacking among the cashew growing sector. Next comes the increase in import. We are importing more number of nuts from West African countries. It is mainly because our domestic demand is higher. We couldn't able to make up the domestic demand of the cashew, means cashew kernels. So to meet up that demand, we are importing. We are dependent upon importing. And another one important factor is the labor requirement. As I told, to separate the nut from apple, it is and to collect those nuts, it is labor intensive. Next, to saturate all these problems, we can see some of the research organizations who are mainly working on that. Is the first comes ICAR Directorate of Cashew Research, which is mainly working on cashew for to increase. Develop the technologies to increase its yield and for the sustainability. And there comes another 14 different All India coordinated research organization, those who are working mainly on cashew, depend upon the state wise. Here I have listed over here. Here we can see Bapatla, it is from Andhra Pradesh, Bhubaneswar from Odisha, Hogalgere in Karnataka, Kanabargi in Karnataka, Madakatara in Kerala, Pilikod in Kerala, Bengurla, Vridhachalam, Paria, Daresai in Jharkhand, Jhargram, Jagdalpur, and Old Goa as well as Parapani. Here, these 14 different centers are also working on cashew. These are all called as AICRP centers. Coming to the variability in cashew, the one most important thing we have to see when we are going for crossing or hybridization or the development of any of the varieties, we should have variability in our hand. So, being a nodal center which is working on cashew, we have around 600 plus, I can say, the diversity of cashews we have conserved in our national cashew gene bank. So, diversity with respect to what? Diversity with respect to nut size, diversity with respect to the kernel size, diversity with respect to apple size, color of the apple, diversity with respect to the CNSL content, whether it is free, high, medium, and all, diversity with respect to canopy structure, diversity with respect to plant height, as well as color of the plant. Even one genotype what we have is purple mutant. The entire plant is in purple color, including the leaf, apple, flowers, rachis, everything. But the kernel, what we get from the purple mutant is as like other cashew kernel, that is white. And we have some of our other species which belongs to Anacardiaceae family, that is Anacardium occidental, Anacardium microcarpum, Anacardium othonianum, and pimilum. These species are mainly important in crop improvement programs. So this is the pictorial view of National Cashew Field Gene Bank, which is we have in our institute. Here we have considered more than 600 plus genotypes, and so the main breeding targets in cashew is, one is the age, another one it should be dwarf in stature and short flowering duration and high sex ratio, and another coming to other aspect is resistant to pest and diseases, mainly the TMB, tea mosquito bug pest, and some of the minor diseases also, and shelling percentage with high shelling. The variety should be of high shelling percentage and nutritional quality as well as CNSL content. What are all the approaches to achieve those breeding strategies, means breeding objectives is like that: introduction or selection. We can introduce or make a selection of best of the varieties which are performing better than the already established varieties, or through hybridization program by crossing two different varieties for particularly target oriented breeding programs are more encouraged. And also one of the advanced approach is molecular breeding. So in our germplasm maintenance block, we have around 13 unique types which belongs to dwarf type, wild types, etc., which are maintained in separate block. And further, 512 germplasm accession, which is there in a conservation blocks, are maintained and they are characterized also. This is the general view of those plants what we have considered in field. Coming to the website, that is Cashew Germplasm Database Management. This is one of the useful website which gives the complete information about those what are all those genotypes, the diversity of genotypes what we have conserved in our National Active Field Gene Bank. If you go visit this site and enter your details, and if you want a specific details like rich in vitamin C content varieties, or rich in protein content varieties, or tall varieties, dwarf varieties, like that, if you give some hint information, that it will give the list of out of it, and you can go on by clicking on each and every genotype, you will get all the information about the varieties or the diversities which is available. Coming to the germplasm holding, how much germplasm what we have in our institute as well as other research institute which are working on cashew, those are ASCRP centers which comes under our purview. That is in Directorate of Cashew Research, Puttur, we have around 544 number of genotypes which is already characterized. Still we have collected, and the number has been increased up to 600 also. And the coming to ASCRP cashew centers, that Bapatla is having around 132 genotypes, and Bhubaneswar is having 98, Jhargram is 100 19, Vridhachalam is 208. Total, we can say 1225 genotypes are available. And coming to the varieties, which is already there and released in India, how many varieties are available in India? It is state specific also. And here we can see in East Coast, the main centers comes that Bapatla, Vidhachalam, Bhubaneswar, and Jhargram. Here, total around the Bapatla has released a total 7 number of varieties. Vidhachalam, 4 number of varieties. Bhubaneswar 1 and Jhargram 2. In Bapatla, we can see the Bapatla series BPP 1 to 6 and BPP 8. And Vridhachalam Center, that is VRI 1, 2, 3, and 5 series are there. And Bhubaneswar 1, Jhargram 1 and 2. Like that, in West Coast, Vengurla 7 varieties has been released. That is the series from Vengurla 1 to 7. And Goa, 2 varieties are there. Madakatara, 8 varieties are there. Anakayam, Madaka, Madakatara 2, Kanaka, Dhana, Priyanka, and Amrita. These are the varieties from Madakatara Center. And Ullala. And coming to Directorate of Cashew Research, Puttur, we have released around 6 varieties now. NRC Selection 1, NRC Selection 2, Bhaskara, Netra Vamana, Netra Jumbo 1, Netra Jumbo 2, Netra Samruddhi is one of the recent varieties which we have released in 2025, and Netra Ganga. And coming to the plain areas, there is a Chintamani, Chintamani 1 and 2. These are the varieties list, we can broadly say. So here we can see that there are some other species as well as genus which belongs to the family Anacardiaceae. This is one of the novel approach we are doing, that is intergeneric hybridization by utilizing the related genera, that is Semicarpus cursi. The main objective of this work is to see the tolerance for the TMB, tea mosquito bug. This breeding program has been initiated. Still, the work is going on, and we are in the initial phase of evaluation. And there are some other progenies which we have done interspecific also, that is Microcarpum with Anacardium occidental. That is also mainly for TMB tolerance to increase the yield. And some of the other approaches like mutation breeding is also being doing in our institute to develop and improved varieties. Still they are in the initial phase of evaluation. These are all the variabilities or the variants what we got through mutation breeding. And coming to the novel approach, that is advanced approach, biotechnological achievements in this cashew sector, if we see. So the first draft genome of cashew was developed and published by our institute, that is Directorate of Cashew Research, Puttur. And the first set of gene cases are, that is 36 markers were developed and reported in cashew. They are like interspecific and intraspecific mapping populations are also been generated in cashew. And we have established a center of excellence for biotechnological work with a state-of-the-art facility. And we have developed some microsatellite database for has been also been created for cashew, which is the main repository of around 42,000 microsatellites. These are the biotechnological achievements which has been made in a cashew for crop improvement program. It is mainly used for to identify a variety, to develop a variety. And this is one of the database. We can see cashew single nucleotide polymorphism database. This database is mainly utilized by biotechnologists who can work on cashew. And these are all the publications we can refer to it to get more ideas. Coming to the varieties developed by Directorate of Cashew Research, Puttur. Here we can see the jumbo nut, means the whole nut size varieties. Here the 3 varieties will come under this category, that is Netra Jumbo 1, Netra Jumbo 2 and Netra Ganga. And one most important variety is this dwarf variety which can be suitable for our terrace gardening also, that is Netra Vamana. And Bhaskara is one of the renowned variety which has been released from Directorate of Cashew Research, Puttur, which is a mid-season and the TMB escaping variety. And next one, dual purpose varieties has also been identified and released by our institute, that is Netra Ubhaya. One most recent variety, that is Netra Samruddhi, has also been identified and released by DCR. If we see the characteristics of these varieties one by one, Netra Jumbo 1. As the name itself suggests that it is a jumbo-sized variety, means jumbo-sized nut we can expect out of this variety, and they are all are uniform nut size. And one unique character is that even though it is nut, it has a cluster bearing characteristic. And if in the market the whole nuts or the jumbo nuts or the bold nuts fetch more price, 50% reduction in manpower for harvest, and the testa which is attached to the kernel, it can be peeled off easily. And bold nut hybrid, we can see 11.5 to 12 gram nut weight we can expect out of this variety, and a high shelling percentage of 29.1%. Kernel, the inside the kernel, it weighs around 3.3 gram, and the kernel grade is bigger than, that is W130 grade kernels, and it is having the potential yield of 1.65 tons per hectare. And the cashew apple of this jumbo variety, Netra Jumbo 1, weighs around 100 gram. Juice content is around more than 70% with the TSS of 12 to 13, and it is mainly recommended for the coastal regions of Karnataka and Kerala. Coming to the one most important jumbo variety, that is Netra Jumbo 2. Netra Jumbo 2 is having a jumbo size nut, cluster bearing habit, easy peeling of testa, and a bold nut hybrid which weighs around 12 gram nut weight, and shelling percentage is around 29.5, 29.1 to 29.5. Kernel weighs around 3.3 gram. Kernel grade is W130 grade kernels, and yield we can expect 8 kg per tree at 8th harvest. This is the attractive photographs of that variety, Netra Jumbo 2. And coming to the another varieties, that is Netra Ubhaya. This variety is named as a dual purpose variety, means cashew apple is also utilized as well as the nut. Why cashew apple is also utilized? Generally, cashew apple, even though it is rich in vitamin C, because of the tannin content, we can't directly take that fruit and eat it, which causes some itchiness. As like other fruits, it is not having a well established domestic market. It is treated as a waste itself, though it is a powerhouse of most of the nutrient components. But this variety is exceptional, that in this variety the cashew apple is much sweeter, so we can eat it as like a table fruit. And nut is also a big size nut, that W210 grade kernel it is having. So it is named as a dual purpose variety. It is early fruiting in habit, a very high shelling percentage we can expect 34.66%, and W210 grade kernels we can expect out of it, and very good kernel recovery is there, big cashew apple, high juice recovery, and less tannin content. As I have mentioned, it is having a less tannin content of 3.43 milligram per 100 gram, and easy peeling of the testa. It is processing friendly also. Coming to the next variety, Netra Ganga. Netra Ganga is also one of the bold nut type variety, and it is also a cluster bearing habit. And the nut weighs around 12 gram. Higher shelling percentage is obtained in this variety, that is 29.5, and the kernel grade is W150 to 180, and apple weighs around 75 to 120 gram with a good TSS of 12 degree Brix. It is also having edible fruits, and it is pruning responsive. One of the add-on advantage of this variety is that it is a pruning responsive variety, and it is also suitable for high density planting. Coming to the one most important variety, that is a dwarf variety, that is, as the name itself suggests, that Netra Vamana. It is a dwarf, or we can say a semi-tall variety, and it is a slow growing variety. We can expect around 2-meter height, that's it, and high in 10 years. And precocious and medium nut yielder it is. And we can see small size nuts, and less than 6 gram we can say, and with attractive red color apple, and it is useful in ultra high density planting techniques. So we can adopt this variety, and the maximum yield we can see 1 to 2 kg yield at closer spacing we can get. Here we can see that dwarf stature of the plant and attractive red apple with the small size nuts, and this is the stem galling. This is one of the unique feature, because if the stem galling happens in dwarf variety only, the galling of stem happens and it reduces the plant height. By this, it induces the dwarfing nature to the plant. So this is one of the unique trait of this variety. Coming to the one most recent variety which we have released during last year, that is Netra Samriddhi. Netra Samriddhi is a medium and uniform sized nuts, cluster bearing habit with a high sex ratio and high shelling percentage of 30.40, and W210 grade kernels we can obtain out of it. And it is consistently a high yielding variety which has an attractive red color apple, and it is protein rich variety we can say, and it produces alternate flush after tea mosquito bug infestation. It is one of the unique trait of this variety. When the tea mosquito bug infestation happens, majority of the varieties will not respond to it. Means after infestation, the infested part will be dried and it will have a burnt appearance. So in cashew, generally, in current season growth, whatever it comes, in that only we can get vegetative growth as well as the flower bud initiation happens. Most of the TMB infestation happens during the flushing and flowering season. If the plant get affected by the TMB during flushing and flowering season, it directly impact on its yield. So when the TMB get infested, the infested part will be dried and it couldn't able to proliferate and produce any vegetative or flowering buds. Thereby, we are decreasing our yield. But this variety is unique because when they get infected, it produces means flowering as fruit bud differentiation, flower bud differentiation, as well as vegetative bud differentiation will happen in this variety. This is one of the unique trait, and yield potential we can expect up to 2.26 tons per hectare at 7th harvest. So it is high yielding also. So up to this, there are number of varieties has been released throughout India. As I have mentioned, list out the varieties with the respective state-wise, as well as the varieties which are prominent in Karnataka region. And these are all the newly released varieties from the nodal center, that is Directorate of Cashew Research. Coming to the cultivation aspect, in any crop, the prerequisite for crop cultivation is one is the soil type. In which soil type this crop is suitable. Whether the land is level land or it is a slopy land, that is also plays an important role. And how we are going to plant it, what are all the where you are purchasing the quality planting material, that also plays a very important role. And after planting, how we are going to take care of it. Mainly cashew, we have to see this prerequisite initial phase because it is a perennial crop. When you are going to expect an yield as well as market value for your produce, that too after 6th or 7th harvest you are going to get economic yield. Therefore the first step plays a very important role here, because until then you have to maintain that crop to get a better and economic yield. That's why cashew is generally is not suitable for all types of soil. It is mainly suitable for red sandy soils. It is not suitable for black soil because it is the root system is such that it requires aeration for breathing. But in black soil, the tight alluvial nature of the soil, what happens is the compactness reduces the root breathing. So crop failure will happen. So that's why the sand type plays a very important role. After that, the pH of the soil, which should be around 5.5 to 7.5. This pH very much suitable for cashew cultivation, and water table, it should be less than 1800 millimeter. Coming to the climatic requirements of this crop is that it is a tropical plant and it loves dry climate. Up to 4 to 5 months, it loves dry climate. We can say this is a drought resilient crop, drought responsive crop. And in we can expect and it can be recommended up to rain days of 4 to 5 months. And it is susceptible to cold climate. It is very much susceptible to cold and frost. It will not proliferate in that climatic condition. And the temperature range suitable for this variety variety, cashew crop is 33 to 37 degree centigrade, high temperature responsive also, with the relative humidity of 70 to 75%. And it is a sun-loving plant. And we can't recommend this cashew crop as a shade-loving plant or an intercrop in between other highly canopy-based crop, because it is a sun-loving crop. So it requires a sunshine requirements of around 6 to 9 hours per day. So these initial parameters should be considered before going or selecting cashew as a crop in our field. So when we selected our site based on these prerequisites, what we have to do is initially we should plow the land and we should allow it for soil solarization. Or else in canopy, means slopey structure in coastal areas, what the people are doing is that farmers are doing. We have to dig out the pit size of 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meters pit size, and we should 15 to 20 days before itself we have to open the pit and leave it for soil solarization, so that the soil borne pathogens which are available in the soil, it will be solarized and killed by the solar power, then sunshine. Then what we have to make in during planting, we have to mix the topmost soil as well as FIM 5 kg as well as 200 to 250 gram of rock phosphate. Rock phosphate mainly in the coastal areas where during plantation we are taking this mixture during planting. We have to remove that polythene. Mainly the quality planting material means only the grafted plants are preferable, that to purchased from a authentic sources, we can say, because some of the nurseries which they can sell seedling originated also, they can bluff it. That's why when you're going for a selection of planting material, please depend upon authentic nurseries or the research organization. From there only you can order and purchase the grafting materials or the planting material. So you remove that polythene cover and plant it, but we have to take care while planting that graft and scion region, that attached region will be there. That part should be above the ground level when you are going for planting. After planting, fill the pit with all this mixture and this one soil, and we have to give, as this is an young plant, we can say that 5 to 10-month-old grafted plants are very much successful on field. When you can purchase those plants and we can plant it. And after planting, we have to provide staking for it to avoid wind damage or breakage of the scion material which is attached to the rootstock. And we have to mulch it with any green leaf manures or with other leaf litters. So this is the basic practices in coastal areas cashew farmers are practicing, and it is generalized also. So use of, as I have mentioned, use of quality planting material. Here I would like to mention that the ICAR Puttur has a tremendous role in production or supply of those allied planting material, quality planting material. Every year, around 2 to 5 lakhs of cashew grafts are produced and distributed to different cashew growing sectors from our institute. The present requirement of cashew planting in the country is around 75 to 80 lakhs grafts per annum. Because here I would like to mention that cashew is now not only recommended to coastal regions. Now it is spreading to plains also. Even in northern Karnataka, like places like Gadag and Chitradurga also, cashew is coming up very nicely. So farmers are practicing. They are taking up cashew in their land, and we are getting more demand for these quality grafts from our institute, and every year we are producing 2 to 5 lakhs of cashew grafts, and we are distributing to majority of the states. So after planting, aftercare is important, because this is a perennial crop. 1 to 2 years we have to take up proper care for its canopy. After planting, what happens is that in the rootstock region, we used to get some of the sprouts will come out of it. So we should remove this. And after in above the scion material also, we have to remove this for well established canopy stature. So we have up to 0.75 to 1 meter, we have to remove those sprouts which are coming out of stalk and scion for well-established canopy. And we have to take care that canopy is like in an umbrella shape, so that equal penetration of sunlight will be there. So equal penetration of sunlight, which will promotes more of flower bud initiation, we can get good yield out of that plant, as it is a sun loving plant. And when you are going to apply any fertilizers, if it is 6 and above years plantation plants, here we have to apply leaving from this stem portion 1.5 to 2 meter, we have to apply the fertilizers, because the active root zone in this region, which will easily absorb the nutrients which you are applied for the plant. So avoid wasting of nutrients which you are going to apply nearby the stem or the rootstock region. You have to apply 1.5 to 2 meter away from that stem. So the active root zone is here, because it is a perennial crop. After 6 years, the well-established root system will be there. So there we have to concentrate during fertilizer application. So there is a one standardized developed nutrient manager. It is an app. It has been developed from ICAR, Directorate of Cashew Research, Puttur, to help the farmers to calculate the fertilizer recommendation based on their soil requirement. So the farmer has to then one thing is that based on the soil test report, you have to feed the information in this. Then it will work out based on your soil EC, pH, organic C content, nitrogen level, and phosphorus level and potassium level. It will work out the NPK requirement, and it will give how much you have to apply. So this is one of the beneficial app for the farmer. So after that, cashew is a perennial crop. So during the initial year of cultivation or crop production, we can go for other intercrops also. There is a standardized, some of the crops are being recommended, that is turmeric, ginger, pepper. Pepper in already well established canopied crop, we can say cashew. Here we can see that pepper has been cultivated as an intercrop. But during the initial years, we can go for pineapple, turmeric, and some other vegetable crops which are suitable to that area. Okay. Next is that, as I have already mentioned, there are some of the challenges we need to address to improve our production. In that, this is one of the important thing is that rejuvenation and top working, because most of the cashew plantations are old and senile. So we can't expect a high yield or an economic yield from out of that plantations. So we have to go for rejuvenation and top working. The main aim is rejuvenation and top working is for to improve the productivity of an existing old senile plantation by doing top working. And here we have to take care of cashew stem and root borer also. Special care has to be taken. Next, one most important concept in cashew cultivation is the ultra high density planting in cashew. Ultra high density planting in cashew with 1100 to 1600 plants per hectare are more maintaining productive canopy by pruning technique for obtaining early benefits and higher yield are recommended. But here proper care has to be taken, because when you go for a well canopied perennial crop, you have to balance the canopy. Then only we can go for ultra high density or high density planting, and you have to select such type of varieties which are suitable for that ultra high density as well as high density. When you are going for ultra high density and high density, then you have to definitely practice training and pruning of the canopy. So the varieties which are responsible for those pruning responsive as well as high density planting suitable, those varieties are selected for this cropping system. The one varieties which is recommended from our institute is like VRI3, and targeted yield can be achieved in a short span, and the optimum dose of predicted mean yield is around 2.55 kg per tree, has been obtained with a standard practice of NPK 75, 25 and 40 grams. Next, Next, if here we can see the comparison between the conventional method of planting and high density and ultra high density. The conventional method of planting, here generally we used to go for 8 by 8 or 7 by 7 meter spacing. There we can accommodate around 156 to 204 number of plants per hectare, and the expected yield per hectare is 1 to 1.5 tons per hectare. And coming to high density planting, it is 5 by 5 meter or 4 by 4 meter. 400 to 625 plants per hectare can be accommodated, and the expected yield is around 2 to 2.5 tons per hectare. And coming to ultra high density planting, here 3 by 3 meter spacing or 2.5 meter by 2.5 meter spacing, here 1011 to 1600 plants can be accommodated with 3 to 4 tons per hectare. This is what the general standardized practice. And as I have already mentioned, pruning and training has to be taken care. And in 7 by 7 or 8 by 8 meter spacing plantations, pruning of laterals at 25% can be done to maintain the proper canopy structure. So coming to manuring and fertilizer application, 500 to 50 to 50 grams per tree for a grown-up tree up to 5th year of planting onwards is recommended, and it is region-specific also, state-specific, as well as we have to go with the soil test reports because based on that only we should apply NPK fertilizers. Coming to soil and water management, as I have already mentioned during my initial slides, if the land is slopey, then we have to go for crescent bunds, contour bunds, or terrace planting. If it is a plain land, we can practice a general other fruit crops what we are practicing. So the two most important pests, as I have already mentioned, which cause economic damage in this cashew is, that is tea mosquito bug. The most serious pest in cashew is tea mosquito bug, which causes an economic loss of around 30 to 40%. In severe cases, it go up to 70 to 80%. So one the control measure is, we can say, the prophylactic spray only we are recommending to farmers to avoid the infestation by this pest. And the spraying of 0.6% of lambda xylothrip and profenofas 50 EC 2 ml per liter can also be given, and fipronil 2 ml per liter can also be given. For better management, 3 spaced prophylactic sprays are required, one at the time of vegetative flush, and second at the time of panicle emergence phase, and third at the time of fruiting. These are the most critical phases we have to concentrate to manage this pest by causing economic damage. Next comes the one most important pest, that is cashew stem and root borer. The incidence of this pest is about 10%, but it completely destroys the whole tree itself if it gets affected. Because if it affects the young and old trees, the more infestation will be seen in the old trees than in the young plants. To control stem and root borer, the early detection itself is the very most important factor. And the dead trees and those who are beyond recovery should be completely removed from the plantation. After that, the affected bark should be removed along with the grubs, and then swabbing has to be done with the chlorophyllose 2 ml per liter. This is what the general practice we are recommending for cashew growers. And due to change in the pest scenario as well as weather dynamics, we can say there is some of the other minor pests are also coming up in cashew crop. That is thrips are there, flower thrips, as well as citropestis thrips, which and nut borer, which causes around 2 to 3% of damage in cashew, which has been reported. Coming to the diseases with respect to cashew, there is no well-established diseases which cause economic damage in cashew, we can say. But some of the work we are carried out in that we have reported cashew leaf blight disease in cashew, first time in cashew, which is caused by Neopistolopsis clavispora from India. And coming to the mechanization part, here we can say that for post-harvest as well as pre-harvest operations, cashew is mainly depend upon processing-oriented crop, we can say, because labor-intensive also. So we have designed and developed some of the machineries after harvesting of the cashew nut, as well as before for harvesting also we have developed some of the machines for its ease in operations. That is battery operated telescopic cashew fruit harvester, jaw type fruit collector also. As it is an era of drone applications in almost all the agricultural crops, here we have also standardized the standard operating protocols by utilizing drone in cashew also. It is being very much successful. Next comes the value addition aspect. As I have already mentioned, cashew nut kernel is the most economic part of the crop, which is giving a good return out of it. But even the cashew apple, being it is rich in most of the phytochemicals, vitamin C, and all, and even after extraction of juice, whatever the leftover rind is there, we call this as a pomace, it is also rich in dietary fiber. By utilizing all these things, we have developed and standardized some of the value-added products out of it, so that it will help the cashew farmers, growers, as well as self-help groups, as well as processors to look upon it, to utilize those cashew apples to convert the waste into a wealth format. That is cashew apple pomace powder cookies, cashew apple fruit bar, cashew apple based jam and jellies, cash lime, which is a vitamin C enriched fortified, we can say, RTS ready to serve beverage. We have been standardized, and we have also standardized cashew apple pomace powder based kurkures, extruded product also of cashew. And these are all the new products what we have standardized in cashew apple as well as nuts. Cashew one is that cashew sprout cookies. Cashew sprout cookies mainly developed based on the traditional knowledge which was there in coastal India or coastal Karnataka, we can say. Here there was one practice. People used to go in rainy season to collect the sprouted nuts which are left over in the field. So that sprout is having a very good nutritive value. So those sprouts, they used to bring it and prepare. They are using it in culinary purpose, mainly for salads and curry purpose, but it cannot be preserved for longer duration. So by taking that traditional knowledge into consideration for nutritional benefit of the consumers, we have developed cashew sprout cookies, which is rich in protein, as well as by utilizing cashew apple cupcakes like muffins have been developed. Cashew brush, we have heard chavan brush, mainly prepared out of amla, which is also a source of vitamin C, but it is the vitamin C content of cashew apple is more than that of it, and it is also can be utilized in the preparation of cashew brush. So that has been standardized. Another one is the cashew apple liquid jaggery that we have standardized from our institute. These are the novel products out of cashew waste, we can say. So one app we have standardized in Cashew to help the cashew growers to identify the pest and to get its management practices, how to combat that problem. So here the first ever AI-based app which has been developed, that is Cashew Protect, which is developed in 11 languages, and 6 pests are already has been fed in that. And one more app is that Cashew India app. Cashew India app provides complete information starting from the variety selection, nursery management, what we have to do, planting material selection and initial establishment, manures and fertilizers, how to select, training and pruning, canopy management, intercropping, irrigation, pest and disease management, everything all in one app, we can say, that is Cashew India app, a comprehensive app which is available in 11 languages. It is regional specific. We can go and install this app from the Google Play Store, and we can get complete information about the cashew cultivation out of it. This is one of the novel approach we made in cashew to help the cashew growers who are all there in all over India, we can say. So coming to the global players in cashew improvement program, we can see in India, that is Directorate of Cashew Research Puttur, and in the world we can see in Brazilian Agriculture Research Corporation, EMRAPA, and CALRO, Kenya Agricultural Livestock Research Organization. These are all the global players in cashew improvement program. So finally, to conclude my presentation, as we look toward 2030, the cashew is no longer just a commodity, it is a catalyst for change. By optimizing cultivation, we are not just increasing the yield, we are empowering the livelihood, fueling industrial innovations, and as well as we are producing the plant-based protein we are getting out of cashew. The future of cashew is not just in the nuts, it is in the sustainable legacy what we build for the farmers who grow it. That is one of the message we can say, cultivating the future one nut and with infinite possibilities. So I would like to thank the organizer for providing me an opportunity to present an overview of cashew cultivation or cashew research, what is going on in India. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Veena, for
Yes,
the
ma'am.
very detailed presentation. Now I'll quickly take up some questions since we are running short of time.
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay. So the first question is, which new cashew varieties offer higher yield and disease resistance?
Ma'am, as I have already mentioned in my presentation that there is no well-established disease, we can say, which cause an economic damage in cashew. Only one disease what we have identified in field condition is Neopistolochius clavispora, which causes blight. Other than that, we are working on it, but none of the diseases which cause economic damage. But one high-yielding varieties, it is like what type of varieties you are choosing. If you are going for jumbo types, jumbo 1, jumbo 2, and Netra Ganga are highly suitable. And one recent variety what we have released from our institute is Netra Samriddhi, which is a consistently high yielding variety, and we can recommend this variety. Other than that, Bhaskara is having its legacy in cashew cultivation. It is
Okay.
found suitable for most of the cashew growing regions. Bhaskara.
Okay. And what are the latest planting density and canopy management practices?
Yes, ma'am. In my presentation, I have mentioned that if you are cashew is generally a perennial crop and its canopy is broader. It is spreaded type canopy. So when you are going for ultra high density or high density planting, you have to be specific. You have to select specific variety which is suitable for that condition, that system of planting, as well as that variety should be responsive to training and pruning, because the well occupied in canopy crop, if you are creating that situation that it should be accommodated in more number of plants in that specified area, means that variety should be pruning responsive also. So VRI 3 is found to be pruning responsive and it is suitable for high density planting. Other than that, we generally recommend 7x7 meter spacing and 8x8 meter spacing for other varieties.
Okay. And how can farmers improve flowering and fruit set in cashew?
Okay. Cashew, generally, if we see its phenology, it comes up, the flowering will comes up in the current season growth. When you see in mango, the flowering will happen in the 1-year-old shoot. So it is most fragile phase, we can say, because in that phase only the most of the TMB infestation will happen. So farmers has to be more cautious in that phase, that they have to take up one prophylactic spray of controlling TMB. Then light irrigation is required. That's it. After that, the crop will be so hardy that it will come up very well and it will proliferate. It will produces new flushes and flowering laterals. The canopy management you have to be take care. Farmers has to take care that it should be not be overcrowded branches. It should be open up branches with an umbrella shaped canopy because it is a sun loving plant. When the equal penetration of sunlight is there, there will be more chances of getting more number of flowering flowering laterals to increase the yield.
Okay. What are the best nutrient management practices for higher productivity?
Yes. Generally, ma'am, we recommended like 500 to 50 gram of NPK is sufficient for 50-year-old plant, we can say. But we have to see our soil nutritional profile first based on the soil test. There we can get the OC content, pH content of the soil as well as the NPK levels in the soil. Based on that, we can go for application. The standard fertilizers I have already mentioned, and we have one app we have developed, the nutrient calculator. So if you feed the farmers, if they feed those latitude, longitude information along with the pH information, definitely it will calculate and give this much urea you should apply, this much potash and phosphorus fertilizers you can apply. And even we can go for FIM application also every year. Per tree, we can go for 5 to 10 kg based on the age of the plant.
Okay. Yeah. How can major pests like tea mosquito bug be managed effectively?
Yes. Tea mosquito bug is one of the most important pests in cashew because it is like it is not like monophagous. It is not only affecting cashew, it is polyphagous. It is going on feeding in other crop also. So we say it is polyphagous. So the best thing is that farmers can go for prophylactic spray of lambda cyhalothrin or fipronil. 3 prophylactic sprays we recommend for farmers. That is during flushing. Means when the new flushes started emerging out of a plant, that time, as well as inflorescence emergence time, means flowering laterals, the flowering when it started, that time we have to go for one prophylactic spray. And nut setting time, when it start from fruit bearing time, is there, that if the farmers concentrate these 3 phases, that's sufficient. You can combat that TMB problem successfully, and you will get a better yield from your growth.
Okay. What role does pruning and regeneration play in old cashew orchards?
Yes, ma'am. Very good question. Actually, this is because here most of the cashew growing area, we can say, if you see, means old and senile orchards are there. Means they are all from seedling originated plantations. Mainly, if the seedling originated plantation, they will not give a higher yield what you expect from a grafted plant. Grafted plants are such that the high yielding scion material will be taken up and they used to do grafting, and that grafting will be that those grafts will be taken to planting, and it will give more yield as like the mother plant what we are telling this is high yield. But in seedling originated, we are not knowing about its origin, and that seedling originated plants are comparatively low yielder when you compare with the grafted plants. So this is one criteria when you are going for rejuvenation or top working in the seedling originated plantation. Another one is that when you go for seedling originated plant, you have to top working has to be done, as well as you can graft it in situ with the high yielding scion material. That is one thing. And rejuvenation part means already the plantation has reached it senile phase, that its economic yield you cannot get out of those plantations. Those plantation we have to concentrate, we have to do top working for those plantations, and we can do grafting with the high yielding scion materials. Why? Because it is a perennial crop. When you are going for establishment, starting from the getting higher yield means it will completely takes from 1st to 8th year. Our 6 harvests we used to get, it will take 7 to 8 years to get an economic yield. But already established fruiting system is already there in old and senile orchard. You have to go for instead of that grafting purpose, top working purpose. Then that juvenile phase to waiting period to get an economic yield is comparatively less when you are going for a fresh orchard or plantation establishment. That's why we recommend for top working or rejuvenation of old and senile orchard. This is one aspect. And coming to pruning as well as canopy management, pruning when you are going for general pruning is recommended for in all spacing varieties. That is, even it is a high density or it is ultra high density or it is a normal density, because proper canopy structure should be maintained. The perennial crop with an overcrowded branches, you can get a minimum yield. Perennial crop with a spreading canopy branches, being a sun loving plant, when the equal penetration of sunlight is there, then more number of flowering panicles will be emerged out of it. Definitely, if the flower emerges, the fruit set will happen, the yield will be improved. That's why pruning is recommended.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Just 2 to 3 more questions. How can water and moisture management improve yield stability?
As I mentioned, ma'am, this cashew is a drought and climate resilient crop, we can say. The initial stress is required for its flowering and fruiting, but to maintain, to combat the flower dropping or nut dropping, initial after setting of, after fertilization, we can say after pollination fertilization, this phase coincides with the dry phase, means high summer, where that dry phase makes the lack of moisture in the soil. This lack of moisture in the soil makes the settled nuts to drop off. That's why in that phase, the irrigation or giving light irrigation to the plantation plays a very important role to retain the nuts, as well as it will help in pollination process also to get more number of setting, because it coincides with the dry phase, summer season. So more number of drop we can expect, drying we can expect. That's why light irrigation is sufficient.
Okay. Dr. Veena, you can stop sharing the screen.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
So just 2 more questions. What are the climate resilient practices recommended for cashew farming?
Climate, the crop itself a climate resilient crop. It is like drought suitable crop, we can say, with a minimum water, minimum nutrition requirement. The crop will come up very nicely. When you compare with the other crop, we can say, this crop is introduced crop, and most of the cashew growers are cultivating this crop in an unfertile, eroded soil. In that unfertile land itself, this crop is successfully established and it's giving its economic yield. So the crop itself highly recommended as an drought prone area and unfertile land suitable crop, we can say. There are no such practices to impose to be an it's climate resilient approach, but we are characterizing it. What are all those characters which are helping this crop, which are renovating this crop as a climate resilient crop? So those screening aspects are we are doing it, ma'am, like drought screening and salt resistant screening. This type of screening strategies we are doing. This type of work is going on, and some of the genotypes what we have screened, they are giving good response. In the coming future years, we will be identifying those genotypes. We can say it is high temperature tolerant and it is most suitable for highly alkaline area. Suitable variety, like that. We are working on that aspects also.
Okay. What post-harvest practices help improve nut quality and market price?
Yes. It is mainly a processing oriented crop, because after harvesting, if you see the raw cashew nut, if you want to sell it in a market, we can say 100 to 150 rupees you will get raw cashew nut after detaching the nut from the apple. Okay, but what we are recommending to the farmers is, after removing or harvesting nuts from the apple, completely drying has to be done. 3 days in a proper sunny hours, we have to dry those raw cashew nuts. Then only the mediator person will come who is collecting the raw cashew nuts. He will prescribe some amount as like 100, 150 rupees. Usually farmers used to sell in that price. But after complete processing and extraction of the kernel, that is plays an important role, because 1 kg, if you are selling it in 150 rupees, if you are process it and extract the kernel out of it, and when you sell it, those kernel in the market, it will definitely you can get 650 to 700 rupees. I am telling minimum price. Or if it is a high grade kernels or walnut types, definitely up to 800 to 1000 rupees per kg we are getting from cashew kernels after processing. So it is a processing dependent crop.
Okay. So now we have the last question. What support and technologies are available from ICAR for cashew farmers?
Yes, ma'am. So we have coming to for cultivation aspect, we have varieties, as well as we have agribusiness incubation center. One unit is there, mainly working on disseminating our tech, and ITMU. The technology management unit, one cell is there. These two are working on technology dissemination aspect, because they will give training to the farmers as well as the buyers of our technology. Starting from the planting material, all the varieties, we can say we have improved varieties like Bhaskara, Jumbo series, as well as Samruddhi, Dwarf type, and Netraganga. These are all the varieties which are available with respect to varieties, as well as we can give training on cultivation aspect, and we are giving entrepreneurship training with respect to nursery. If the person is willing to establish a cashew nursery, because as I already mentioned, we are getting more demand for quality planting material in any of the crop, that too in a perennial crop. Getting a quality planting material from an authentic source plays a very important role. So for that we are giving training, as well as our institute is working on that line. And coming to mechanization aspect, we have developed some of the harvesters, fruit and nut separator, which is more labor intensive in that part. So those type of machineries we have standardized. These are all the technologies with respect to post harvest. And coming to value addition, as I have mentioned in my presentation, we have a number of almost 9 to 10 already standardized value added products are there. So those are all the technologies what we have developed in with respect to value addition. We have already given training to some of the buyers who has taken our technology, and some of the self-help groups, women self-help groups, they have taken technology as well as training out of it, and some of the youngsters who want to establish their own startup, they are approaching us and they are taking up these value-added products and they are starting up their own business out of it. These are all the certain functions what we are looking after, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Veena. So I don't see any more questions.
Thank
So now
you,
we
ma'am.
have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank you for a very detailed presentation and answering all the questions in depth. So we'll be ending this meeting now. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You are most welcome. Thank you.